Hello everyone, myself Akshay Manoth and I'm back with another Y-Combinator uh, S20 startup named Vectrix. So here's the website of Vectrix. The name of the startup is Vectrix.io. It is founded by three young people and who have an experience of Vimeo. These three guys were together in Vimeo and have founded this company just let's say around a month ago. So let's see what they are trying to solve and what their value proposition looks like and how it is. So as we open the site, what we see first here is the first cloud security marketplace. So yes, there are so many cloud security products being required nowadays, but there's no such marketplace. The first. So yes, this is actually the first. I tried to research it out and I couldn't find any. There are marketplaces like AWS, but not like only for cloud security. You can find any single platform where you can get multiple cloud security products. So yes, they market that point. So get secure and begin building trust in minutes with a marketplace of plug and play security tools. So kind of they want people to publish their products also so that they can resell it from and it can be easily integrable with the other tools also. So as we move down, they say that security for startups made easy. So what is the value proposition they want to show at the second slide is what is Vectrix module? So Vectrix module is an individual security scanner that monitors one of the tools you use for a specific security issue, risk or misconfiguration. So when a problem is detected, users are alerted via Slack, Jira, PagerDuty, and more. So basically, you are using any cloud account or any cloud services, and if they might have highlighted some of the areas where there could be some trouble or there could be a risk or issue or misconfiguration which can lead to your data leak or security leak. So they will monitor your accounts, they will scan your accounts for those problems, and they will update and detect and update you in the Slack or Jira or PagerDuty. So what is Vectrix Marketplace? So the Vectrix Marketplace is an ever-expanding library of Vectrix modules powered by the security community. So basically, what they want to create is a community-driven product. Now, whether it's an open source or it's a paid, let's try to understand first that part. Use as many modules as you like. Scale up coverage as you go. So they might be adding more and more modules as many people would be uh, plugging in their security products. So yes, it's going to be becoming a big marketplace. Now, what can Vectrix do? So it can improve security, it can enforce compliance, it can unblock sales. Now, what does unblock sales? Bolster your coverage to prospective customers, reassure concerns, and close deals with less hassles. Okay, so provide comfort. Let your executives know that their bases are covered. If any issue exists, you will know about it. Okay, so basically, it's all about the security part they are talking about. Security capabilities for the platform, like so, they are claiming that they are providing the initial modules for AWS, GCP, Slack, G Suite, Zendesk, Salesforce, Dropbox, many more. So what are the initial kind of features they are trying to provide is a AWS S3 bucket scanner, GitHub access monitor, AWS IAM analyzer. I think AWS S3 bucket scanner is something everybody always talks about AWS security. So yes, it is. Now coming, yes, now they have a pricing here. So what we talked about whether it's a open source or it's a paid kind of a community. So yes, it's a paid community because from the starting itself they have asked to put up $1,000 so roofing cost for a SaaS. But let's understand whether uh, is it in the pocket size or it's beyond the pocket size. We'll analyze this part. And startup deal, let's chat. Okay, so there's a custom chat they are providing for a 15-minute chat. So we live and breathe cloud security. Good to know about the founders. So they are ready to build detection response modules. So I have logged into the Slack community and it looks like this. So they just started the website on 9th of July. Today is 17th. So just 10 days ago they have started this thing. So almost I think 33 people are there in this Slack. So kind of good. seems to be a good going community. Coming to, let's log in and see what the value proposition are they trying to pitch it out. So let me log in first. They've given a chatbot facility also. Now it's just you just put your problem and they will come up. So yeah, you can here see the modules for AWS as the bucket scanner, AWS IAM analyzer, CloudTrails status, security cloud group, GitHub repository scanner, GitHub access control, GCP, uh, security news feed, and certificate model. Oh, so there are, like, as shown in the main page of the website. Not all the modules are there. You might be creating it, but they are put in their main page of the website. So when it comes to deployments, I think they have some dashboard where you can see whatever security alerts or something are happening. So in the organization, they're telling about you. So if you want to act, this can be only used if you activate any of your uh, subscription. Otherwise, it won't happen. Okay, so how to do it is not mentioned here. Maybe it's only after you subscribe now that only it will be happening. So there's nothing like a demo video or something there to understand how to start, or there's no documentation available for me to start and show you how it can be done. Okay, so let's try to understand how this market and all things can work up. So let's go to the presentation part of it. So as you see, yes. So as we saw the website, the first cloud security marketplace is what they are trying to build up. And what is the value proposition? They have clearly mentioned the tools and modules to find security risk, issue, or misconfiguration. So the idea is pretty clear. The message is clearly shown. A number of platforms represented, but no code available when signed in. We saw that there were only 8 to 9 modules there, but not all the modules were there. Like Slack was there, GCP was there, AWS there, but not like at Atlassian or Salesforce. All these were not there. So you should not try to put any false proposition. This is one of the valuable learnings you should always do. Now, pricing for crowdsourced platforms. So is it a crowdsourced or a community driven? It's really tough for me to right now predict about them. But if let me try to analyze in both the categories how they can work out and what can they work out. Coming to the problem statement that they are trying to solve is finding bugs in security of your application and data storage and alert it. Yes, so this is a very, very crucial problem in the market and the IT industry, where there is always security of the application or data is the prime importance. And giving a third party inspection of the cloud accounts and tools used by employees for security bugs and breaches. Always an agency needs some third party security tool to inspect and tell about what on how the employees are using those third party tools and if there is a security breach happening or not happening. Now, coming to the MVP that right now we saw, so they had created modules for AWS, GitHub, and their website security policy and GCP also. We saw that they had some assigning IAM roles with limited services access and Slack account integration to alert the security issues is what they're proposing to do. Now they are giving the module for configuring scan frequency and reporting in category of low, medium, high, and critical. So this is one of basically they've hidden the documentation part, but yes, previously for like 1 week's time, the documentation was open. I don't know why they have closed the documentation. It should be always there, even if it's a free account. Your documentation should always be there. I think they should again revoke their documentation part so that people have a clarity of the thought that what they are going to do in terms of security access. Now, coming to the target customer. Now, since they are talking about two-way, one is it's a marketplace, so they actually need to have a community of automation security engineers who will build tools and modules and put up in the marketplace to resell it. And another is who will buy these catalog of modules. So these are kind of the CEOs or CTOs, CIOs, or the security heads or the DevOps engineers. who are using these cloud tools and primarily are interested in knowing what their employees are doing and how they're managing and handling those accounts, and there's no data or any type of breach that is happening. So primarily amongst them, who is the actual user target? So basically the security auditors. So there is something what is called security audit that has to be conducted for each and every IT organization. It's a mandate. So they will definitely look forward this to this product to even add to their capabilities to understand what are the other loopholes happening in their accounts. There are companies like for companies sharing cloud accounts with freelancer or outsourced companies. Most of the data leak happens outside the companies because most of the company laptops or devices are firewall protected. But what if some account is shared outside or opened outside your premise? Then it becomes a pretty risk for the company. So companies with multi accounts and multi user or team per account, for companies who are managing multiple accounts, like for example you're on AWS cloud and you have 100 employees and you've given each account account to each employee, so now you have 100 accounts to manage. So yes, multi account management is something, or multi account management security is what the primary criteria is. And security and automation engineers who want to publish their tools for reselling. So basically, from this community, these people, like the security and automation engineers, they have to motivate them to come up and build the tools and resell. Now, coming to the product pricing, as we saw it, they have priced at 1000 USD per month for and subscription for using unlimited access to modules. So currently there were just 8 modules as we saw. So even if you use it for infinite times in a month, so we'll try to figure out whether it's a cost to money proposition or not in the next slide. So idea is that every company uses many third party tools where very costly client information is stored. So if it gets lost or hacked, that can be disastrous. Many companies in past, like Cognizant and Facebook and Google, have been in great talks where they have been allocated for hacking or data loss, and it always diminishes a company's brand value. So features also provide is a private Slack channel support to resolve the issues. This was one of the good things that I liked about them, that they are not giving any man-to-man communication or emailing. They have a very modern way of approach of there should be no call, there should be no support center, there should be directly an engineering person talking to an engineering person. So it's a Slack channel support system which I love the most. Coming to the part, is it cost you money? Now this is something very critical to understand. Let's say, since I told you about that, it's more important for companies with multi accounts. Let us take a small startup with having, let's say, 10 employees, and each employee is given one account. So there would be 10 accounts. Almost, let's say, all the data is stored in S3. S3 is kind of a storage services of AWS. So whatever data, whatever informations that you store, you're always storing in S3 only. So generally any changes are made during daytime of the working. So let's suppose we need to scan each account for security check once a day. For example, the person has started working 9 a.m. and is closed at 7 p.m. So before once they go out, there could be a timing like at 9 p.m. every day. The schedule scan can start and check whether there has been loophole or not. It can be intimated to that person and he can immediately do that part. So let's imagine like per month number of security scans for the company. So if there are 10 accounts, so and let's say there are 22 working days, so they will do 10 into 22, 220 scans per month. They may be using, say, saying in infinite model, they may be using all the modules in the single account itself. So what will be the average cost per scan they will get? This is something like entire month they will get a $4.50 per scan per day per account. So if you just imagine over 250 weeks, 250 days across a month, a year, or you can say just 1,000 into $12,000. So in $12,000, your company is getting a security confirmation that yes, you're not breaching, your data is secured, your accounts are secured, nobody can hack into informations, you're always taken care of this thing. So I don't think this is a big cost. It's actually a win-win proposition for even a small startup to a big organization, because as bigger the organization, the per scan cost will downsize. So Definitely, I would say it is a must-have product for any kind of startup. So only thing that needs to be answered is how you manage customer data. This is something, because so somebody to come to your account to give you an access to their account is again a security breach. So convincing that part could be one of the key hazels for the founders to start with. But yes, eventually it can be answered. I had two problems understanding what they want to create. Do they want to create a crowdsourcing product? Like they want to create, they're telling they want to create a community, and they're putting a price tag on the community before starting and before having a catalog. Is it the right thing to do? There's a critical analysis that we need to do. So I've created two slides. What should they do? Should they be acting as a product company, or should they be going for the crowdsourcing? So let us imagine if they start with like a crowdsourcing, like an open source product. First, they come up with as an open source product, and when this catalog is built up, they can put a price value on the catalog, and then they can start selling it. So how that can be built up? Let us try to understand. So what I call is, if you are trying to build up a open source platform, so what it I call is a 5-step process for any kind of, if you look from the story of building any kind of open source platform, this is the way, this is the path they have taken. It's the only path I've seen taken by all the open source platforms and have succeeded. Like, first step is provide a platform for security and automation engineers to come and showcase use cases as per industry needs. Unless and until some product is built on industry use cases, you cannot get popularized. Because at the end, your end user are the people who are working in the enterprises and industry. So if they are not coming and not building as per their use cases and problem needs, it cannot succeed. The step two is the building the community of coders and users. Spread it word to mouth. So basically, if somebody is coding and creating some automation code, there has to be hundreds and thousands of people backing up and saying, yes, I've tried it, it's a very good product to use. So unless until you have a word to mouth publicity, it cannot grow big. You cannot grow into a good number of customer sizes, because for your code to be proven, somebody has to back. Nobody will pay you and back your product. Somebody has to give a benefit. If they find it beneficial, they will back you, and a community will back you. Post that, you have to build an array of use cases and convert to modules, and also ask community to modify and create new version of modules. Where in the step 2, whenever you created one of the modules and you put up there and thousands of people came in and used it, gave their feedback and created new versions out of it, and you have to give the credit of being created by a community. For example, if the first person started with the coding, second person came in and modified it, so there are now two people who should be always given the benefit of creating that code. If another person comes create another version, let's be 3 4, that way, if for a certain kind of module, if 100 people are contributing and their names are being shown up there that these are the contributors, definitely you can build up a big community of such automation security engineers. From there, once you have created this kind of community and you have created this kind of products, since these people are again the end users are also working in the enterprises, so now the enterprises will start liking your product and looking into your product, because many of the people have started talking about your product. So what will happen that point of time, you need to create an engineering support and training team to orchestrate enterprise needs and generate revenue. That is the time all the open source product, how they've generated revenue at the first stage is by training to the enterprises, because there are n number of use cases, but you have to bring down a single agent, and you have to bring down to a single module, like a kind of a training program. So, and you have to be in kind of an OEM trainer, and you need to create a support station with your own engineering team to answer all the day-to-day needs and questions of about your platform from the enterprises. That's where the big enterprises start collaborating with you, and your community, who are actually the users, now become your paid users. So it's like kind of from B2C, from your business you created a community. That's what I call it, a B2C. From that community, since it's a community used inside the enterprises, now you can get it to the C2B. That's what I call as B2C2B, from business to community to business. So the enterprise will start coming to you. So once you get big with the community and the use cases from industry and driving together, and that time is when Vectors can encash using the customization part and the support cost. So this is where the company starts kicking off and it starts becoming big. You can take the example of Docker, you can take the example of JFrog with GitLab, then you can take example of Red Hat. All these started like this and have grown in the same 5 steps. If Vectrix is planning to create a marketplace, they will have to go with an open source model. This is what I personally feel so. Or there is another way. There in US, most of the security companies who are no doubt very big and are being listed have grown as a product company only. They never started with an open source platform. But their idea is to create a marketplace. So that's where the open sourcing came up. Now, if you want to be a security company, you should be a product company first. So what does a product company mean? Means a product company means you should own your product. Your team should have built that product and you have the IP for that product. For having that, you need first is a big team. You cannot, nobody can, a company with 100 people engineering cannot come and trust 3 people company. You need to have a good experience of a good automation and security engineers from various backgrounds so they can answer all the various questions from the industry. You cannot directly create the products because you are not the expert of everything. Every day you have to create a product depending on the industry needs. So you have to bring in projects or use cases from the industry, so which will also fetch you revenue while you are delivering to the industry, and you are again building your product by delivering and fine tuning as per the industry needs and guidelines. So that is where you are also building a product for your own company, and also you are providing value proposition to whom, for the first customer you are preparing, and also you are getting a feedback, and also you are fine tuning your base product as per the industry use case. And once with this type of projects and use cases that you get from industry, you create a catalog of use cases and then you start marketing it. So this is how most of the security companies have come. So now it's up to Vectrex to decide either they actually want to be a marketplace, then the open source is one of the valuable ways they can go. They can also go with the product based as a product company, they can also go with the marketplace, but that also has to come up from the internal engineering team. Now coming to the market size of the third party security solutions. So currently in 2020, as per the Gartner report, it is currently US dollar 20 billion and it is expected to grow at US dollar 140 billion by 2030. So you can see there's an enormous growth coming in the next decade. So it's like next decade's product, and this is the right time to start. If an industry is going to go for 7x or 10x in coming 10 to 15 years, that's the time you should start this product. So enterprise is the prime user who is actually always takes security first and then they do it. Whatever they think security is the first target and then the rest of the things are being thought. So enterprise needs the most, and every enterprise buys such solutions from other security enterprises. In order to sell to an enterprise, you itself has to have an enterprise tag on you. Then only you can support to an enterprise. But not only to the enterprises, nowadays startups also have to show to other the GDPR compliance and other data security compliances in their products and solutions. So yes, this is one of the ways where places where your product can help as a auditing tool for the companies or for the enterprises to bat on the startup products, whether they are adhering into the GDPR and the data security compliances or not. As of now for Vectrix, what I think is like as a marketplace of security solutions, if even 3%, that is like out of this 140 billion, if they are able to even fetch a 3% market, that's what I like, $4.2 billion worth solutions. If they start selling this worth of solutions via Vectrix marketplace, they can encash a commission of around 5% in it, making a turnover of 210 million US dollars. So yes, a company with a 210 million dollar revenue is a win-win proposition. So This kind of company will definitely have a valuation of near about $2 billion. So I definitely feel that Vectors is surely a unicorn idea. Now, this is something very important part, how they can do this part. Since it's a very sensitive uh, game in the security, IT security that you're talking about. So building the product is MVP creation is a very small task that can come up from one of your use case from your industry experience of past 10 years. But creating a company out of this is a very different proposition. So initially, it will be very tough to get an investor on this part. If an angel investor comes in, also he knows that this product will not sell over the night. It has to be built along strong base, strong team, strong ethics, and a strong product also with a very good and a very big market validation has to come. So it's like a wait and watch product first you have to do. So basically your first 3 4 years that you're gonna spend is all going to get into like team building, community building, and module creation. There won't be sales, but the cost of making all these and encouraging these activities is too high. So for the next 3 years, if they need to run this show, they at least need to come up with a team size of 20 to 30 people, and also need to have a community of at least 1500 to 2000 people who are typing and building the code and building this community and giving their feedback and using their enterprises to give them the actual industry use case feedback. Then only this model creation will kick off and they will be able to create at least a sizable catalog to pitch it to the more and more startups and mid-sized enterprises or something like a medium-sized enterprises. For that, this is a very big stake. Either if they're not able to succeedly able to do this part, the entire money will go in vain. So for an initial angel investor, he needs to have a very high stake. I bet like if you're giving $10 million, you should at least take 40%. If somebody is thinking of just putting in $1 million, $2 million, it will vanish off. Like even it cannot create a 10 people team out of $1 billion. So a company working out of San Francisco, you cannot bet on just $1 or $2 million. They have to start with the $10 million, and you have to be very patient because the founders are just coming from the industry. They have industry experience, but business experience is completely different from the industry experience. In the 2023, I think then you will have to go when they have created a sizable community and sizable market size, and they have gone to a market validation. That time they will have to take money for the go-to-market strategy and marketing and branding activities. That is the time when after Series A only the enterprises, whenever they will start knocking, they will be hearing them, they will be listening to them, they will be talking to them, because for a company with a Series A funding and backed by a very good SaaS based investor is where they can give you good contacts and get you deal. But again, this can be a big deal because just knocking the enterprise doors, you never know. And with the situations of security and the compliances coming in, if you're not evolving in that fast pace, uh, the go to market is becoming very tough. So that time also the funding is going to be very tough, and it's any investor that time will at least ask for 25% stake. So with kind of like $15 million and with 25% stake, you can get a valuation of $60 million. For the six series B, they will have to act. It will take around a 2 years time for them to from go to market to kind of brand building activity. It almost takes with 2 years, and they will burn off this money and create another DAPT of around $10 million. When they will have a DAPT of $10 million, that will be the time they will be, high skilled tech portfolios will be interested in investing your company, because that time you will be cracking more and more high value deals worth of millions of dollars with big and big enterprises. So yes, that is the time again you have to get the funding, which should be around $30 million. Again, it will happen at a stake near about 25%. That money will vanish too fast, because that time you will have to grow your team size like to 250 people, 300 people, because that is the time you'll have to start engaging those training, those support systems, those custom vendoring systems. You need to have account managers for different enterprises. So a large chunk of hiring has to be done, and that management has to be created. A proper systematic company has to be created out of that money. So it will vanish off quickly in a year's time. Then is the time once you have hit a company with a 300, 400 people sizable company. That is the time hedge funds will come to you and take your product from a small niche to a global level and get you the big deals out of that part. And that is where you will again get funded for $100 million, and then you can grow to a 400 million valuation at that point of time. Post that, I see a very difficult market because I don't see them going anywhere beyond $2 billion market worth. So it will be very difficult for them to raise funding, because if somebody funds after this point of time, it's very difficult to recover that money. So the only dead end for them, it will be whatever debt they have, that the maximum that they can put up is something what I feel is around 200, $250 million. They can only fetch this data out of by going by getting themselves listed at one of the stock exchanges. So this is where how most of the security companies have exited, or kind of their investors have exited, or they have always tried to end their debt and become profitable at last by going for an IPO. So this is what also I feel for Vectrix. So overall, in a nutshell, I feel that yes, Vectrix has the chance to be in this market and be a big sizable player. But yes, the initial 3 to 4 years or 5 years are the crucial ones. And if they fail to do all this thing, and the investors fail to give their money properly and tap them and monitor them, this entire proposition can go in vain. It's a very risky game to be in this marketplace, to be in this market of security and competing with very prominent leaders in this industry. It is something, always a threat is always there that these companies can overdo your product over the nights, or sometimes even there could be like these cloud companies themselves can come up with your idea as a security feature, then your all the modules will go vain over the night. So yes, there are threats, there are rewards, but yes, they have to play a game very systematically and smartly. So all the best. So if you like this video, please click on like and please subscribe to my channel. Thank you.